Hi everybody, welcome into the Wolfman Gardening channel. Today, how many of you struggle to grow cucumbers in your garden? I've had people tell me in the past, and I've had people tell me recently that I would love to grow cucumbers, but every time I try to grow cucumbers, I very seldom ever get any fruit, mostly just vegetation. Well, I'm going to introduce a cucumber variety that may get you excited about growing cucumbers again, especially if you failed in the past. And this cucumber variety is a Parthenocarpic cucumber. So what is a Parthenocarpic cucumber? Parthenocarpic cucumber is a cucumber that will set fruit and does not require pollination. So what is pollination? Let's start with what is pollination. Pollination is when you have a cucumber that has a female flower and a male flower, and you have to have a bee or some other type of insect that has got to transfer the pollen from the male flower over to the female flower in order for that fruit to set. And I'll show you the difference here between a male flower and this one here, which is a female flower. And if you'll notice, the female flower looks like it has a mini cucumber on it, and the male does not. So if you have very few bees or pollinators in your area, then there's no way that that thing is going to pollinate. So therefore, the female flower does not get pollinated. So therefore, it's going to actually die and fall off the vine. Therefore, you don't have a cucumber and you don't have a fruit that is set. How many of us out there have grown a cucumber and on the end it's really big and then it goes down to almost nothing? It's so deformed and so weird. And I used to think it was me. I used to think it was something I was doing, maybe some type of lack of nutrients. It wasn't any of that. All it was the fact that the pollinators did not pollinate that fruit well. So therefore, it didn't get full pollination. So therefore, the fruit is going to grow big on one side and then taper off to almost nothing. And because Parthenocarpic cucumbers do not need pollination, then that means that they are seedless. And what's better to have a seedless cucumber than that? Gives you many uses if you want a seedless cucumber. And because Parthenocarpic cucumbers do not need pollination, then that means most of them are seedless or with very few seeds. But note, if you're growing a Parthenocarpic cucumber in your garden and right next to it you have a non-Parthenocarpic cucumber, which is a regular cucumber, if there is some cross-pollination, if a bee goes from a male flower on this one and pollinates your Parthenocarpic cucumber, then that means that it will have seeds. So it's best to grow just one variety, or if you're going to grow Parthenocarpic and you really want the non-seeds, then I suggest that that's all you grow. That doesn't mean that you will not get seeds, because some of these Parthenocarpic cucumbers are going to grow some male flowers. It's just most of the Parthenocarpic cucumbers grow and have twice as many seeds, or have twice as many female flowers, and sometimes 9 out of the 10 flowers will be female, opposed to where most of your regular cucumbers that we normally grow, then you usually have a 5-to-1 ratio. You usually have 5 of the male flowers per 1 female flower. So keep that in mind. Now, Parthenocarpic cucumbers were naturally grown and they were bred for your big greenhouse industries. That way they could grow them under greenhouse conditions. They can control the climate and they could keep them indoors, and they didn't have to worry about pollination, or they would have to go in and actually hand pollinate. So with these Parthenocarpic, you can grow them in greenhouse and you can grow them under certain conditions and get higher yields that way. And for the most part, the reason us home gardeners grow them is for the seedless nature. Okay, another reason why we grow Parthenocarpic cucumbers, other than the fact that they're seedless, is the fact they have lower levels of cucurbitacins. And what is cucurbitacin? Cucurbitacin is the compound that is responsible for the bitterness in the cucumbers. Also, that cucurbitacin, that is what attracts the cucumber beetle. And we all know the cucumber beetle is a terror in the garden for home gardeners as well as commercial growers. So, seedless and lower cucurbitacin makes for a great cucumber crop. So because your Parthenocarpic cucumbers do not have to have fertilized, then we get the seedless nature. You get more and higher yields because they produce more female flowers. You get a better quality and uniformity because you don't get that lack of pollination. A lot of these you tend to get an earlier harvest. And this also makes it ideal for if you're in the city or if you're in a suburban area and you don't have a whole lot of pollinators in that area, just make it perfect for that reason there. And the fact that they don't have the cucurbitacins, then you don't have to worry as much about the cucumber beetle that are attracted to the cucurbitacin, and also being less bitter. So, like, follow, share, leave your comments down in the bottom. Think about subscribing to the channel. It really helps me out. And like always, keep it growing.